Hello everyone, and welcome to a lovely afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it happens to be in the world for you all. Welcome on in. My name is ELH, your illustrious game master, mind flayer, black hole enthusiast, and peruser of the MAID tabletop role-playing game, which we'll review in a few moments. Let me see, who do we have to say hello to at the top of the session? Gray Matter. Hello, Gray Matter. I hope you are doing well. But yeah, today we'll be reviewing Tigdam. Hello. Today we'll be going over the MAID tabletop role-playing game. It was something that was requested, and since Canis Major is off today, I figured, well, why not? We'll do a catch-up stream and we'll review the MAID, because why not? And yes, Gray Matter, I'm also of the mind that I do not want to talk about real life right now. I want to talk about literally anything else. If you don't know why I don't want to talk about it in real life, stay under your rock. Just don't look at the news. Just stay under your rock. Trust me, your health and stress will be much better. And that's all I'm going to say on the topic, is don't look at the news. Just don't. But yeah, today, in addition to the MAID tabletop role-playing game, we might be going over another system. It kind of just depends on how long it takes us to get through MAID. And kind of as a primer for anybody who's not even heard of MAID before, is that MAID is a Japanese... Shiruluffy, hello. MAID is a Japanese-made tabletop role-playing game, and it is actually something that had to be translated. So it is something where the original MAID, as far as I'm aware, was actually entirely in Japanese and had to be translated by people. So there is a kind of caveat to this review that will start in a few moments. Also, Caspian, hello. There is the caveat to this review that there could be something that was lost in translation, both literally and metaphorically, because as translations go, you know, you always lose a little something every time you translate something between a language. And from what I've read of MAID and what I remember of MAID, it's a fairly faithful translation, but at the same time, there's definitely some things where it's like, yeah, is this the translator trying to be funny? Is this the actual author trying to be funny? And it's just something where, again, because it is a translated product, we have to keep that in mind when reviewing. But before we actually jump in to the actual review, we of course have to do the channel point prediction of what it is that I am drinking today. And I give you all about 3 minutes to vote on that, get your channel point predictions in. Yeah, it's one of those things, Tigdam, where as somebody who used to be in the translation space, or as it was called, the scanlation place, literally scanning and translation mixed together to make scanlation, there were definitely teams, and there still are teams to this day, where the translators, editors, pretty much everybody but the typesetter and quality checkers, they would insert memes that don't need to be there. They would insert, you know, attempts at jokes which weren't in the original translation. And it's something where, as far as I'm aware, the MAID translation is fairly faithful. So we shouldn't have too much of that issue here. And yes, Gray Matter, that is an excellent point, that it is something where Japanese tabletop role-playing games are designed a little bit differently than those we see in the West. So there are going to be some idiosyncrasies and some things that they do differently that will be something, not as much of a shock, but definitely more of a, oh, that's how they're doing things. And it'll make more sense as we go over it. But y'all have about another 30 seconds to vote on what it is that I am drinking today. I don't think anyone has put in a significant amount of points. Most people are thinking tea. We have a few people for energy drinks and soda. Also, all right. I have a dramatic reading from Jedi Prime. I don't know if you meant to highlight or if you meant that as a dramatic reading, Jedi Prime, but if you really want me to read that message in a dramatic reading, I certainly didn't. All right, I'll refund those points for you. There you go, buddy. Excellent. All right, well, let's take a gander at the prediction results. So, one of you thinks that I'm drinking tea, one of you thinks that I'm drinking an energy drink, and another one of you thinks that I'm drinking soda. Well, I'll tell you what, whoever voted energy drink, you're getting a heck of a payout here, because it is once again a V8 Energy. Also, reminder, hashtag not sponsored. So whoever ended up getting energy drink, you're getting a nice 31 times payout here. Oh, look, it's Gray Matter. Gray Matter actually gets a win here. There you go. There's your dub for today, Gray Matter. But yeah, let's get into the review, because I have a feeling it's either going to take forever or it's going to go pretty quickly. But let's jump right in. All right. So, as you can see immediately, we're already looking at a fairly short set of rules here, where there are, as according to this table of contents, there are a number of optional rules, and there are some basic scenarios in here. We'll probably just go over the first basic scenario. We probably won't go over the full additional scenarios. But as you can see, according to the table of contents, the core rules are resolved within, 7 to 31. That's 24 pages. So all the rules we need to handle in MAID are contained within 24 pages, which is a good thing, in my opinion. It might be too many pages, depending on what the content is of these other later things, but short rules are better than long rules, especially if you're able to communicate what the rules are concisely. And it is something where it's better to be concise than have to be, have these sprawling rules that go on and on and on. Or it's one thing to have, a comprehensive set of rules, but it takes you 60 pages, 70 pages to go over them all. Because you have to remember, for every page of rules that you have, that is one more chance that your players aren't going to even read that page. And obviously, the more pages there are, the more likely your players are not going to read those pages. In my experience, the average player will maybe read 10, 15 pages of rules, but beyond 10, 15 pages, players are going to check out. Yeah, players are not going to be paying attention. They're just going to skim, or they're not going to really read, and it's a whole mess. So thankfully, we have a very short core rule section here, and we'll just go ahead and get started, because it looks like we have about six pages of introductory stuff, which probably will be skipped for the most part, but you never know. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Hizumi Kokorono, and I work as Kaya-sama's maid. Sorry to just throw out a greeting like that. I'm kind of nervous. MAID RPG, Kaya-sama's little game book, with its very few illustrations and somewhat confusing rules, is rather infamous in Japan. Oh, Kaya-sama is telling me to tell you that the sentiment expressed in the above opinion, which could only possibly be held by someone who is sick and bitter inside, and that you shouldn't listen to that person. So please try and keep an open mind. So, what was I talking about? Oh yes, MAID RPG! This epoch-making revolutionary game, laden with random tables, was first published in Japan by Sunset Games on December 30th, 2004. Oh my god, this thing is 20 years old. Oh my god, this thing is 20 years old. Oh god. Okay. Well, in a year, the MAID RPG can drink legally. That's a very sobering thing. I now feel very, very old. Okay. Alright. Moving on. But already, we see that, even in the introduction, we see that there is also, hello, Real Evil Steve, hello. We already see that there is some flavor and fun in the introductory, introduction here, where, they are very much aware that they are talking to A person that is not just some corporate D&D speak of, yes, this is a tabletop role-playing game. Yes, you are rolling dice. This is what dice mean. We already, in the first 3 paragraphs, are seeing a number of, flavor and fun. Captain Ahab's leg, welcome. First time chatter, hello. Sobering, once it's 21, sobering might not be the word for it. You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. But we're already seeing that there's a lot of flavor and fun in MAID, and it's only been 3 paragraphs, and that's a good thing. But let's move on. What is an RPG? I'm going to try and explain what a role-playing game is. If you already know, feel free to skip over this section. Well, thank you, Miss MAID, but I think we're going to keep reading. An RPG is a game where the participants create a story together. One of the participants takes on a special role called the Game Master, or GM, and the others are called players. It is the Game Master's job to introduce the story and prepare the scenario. Each player creates a single character called a player character, or PC, which they then use to play within the scenario created by the GM. And I think I actually am going to skip ahead just a little bit, because I think everybody here knows. Also, Slacker Unchained, hello, good afternoon. I think it's pretty clear here that we all know what an RPG is. I'm just sort of skimming here to see if there's anything that they mentions. Let me see. The OG, yeah, Caspian, the OG MAID was 2004. So that was the first time it was published in Japan. But I have never heard of an RPG, says Jedi Prime Alex. Jedi, what are you doing? You know what an RPG is. You know what I'm doing. But one thing I will highlight here, one thing that I will highlight in the skimming, in that this paragraph is very important, and I'll read it verbatim. A story is created through this back and forth process, and eventually a scenario will be completed. Not all endings are happy ones, and sometimes a scenario will conclude faster than intended. RPGs are unpredictable, and while things won't always go the way you want, that's what makes them so amazing. Okay, there you go. I'm not super familiar with this game, but I think I've heard of it in passing. Isn't there an option to play butlers with slightly different power and sets than MAID? Yes, there are rules for butlers, and we will hopefully get to the rules for butlers. Also, I do want to point out as I read here, so anyway, why don't you try and get together some friends for a game? Well, for this particular game, you'd better make sure it's the kind of thing they want to play. It's pretty weird after all. I mean, at least they're being honest. It's, at least they're being honest that, this is a weird RPG up front. But here we are. Here is so what is the MAID RPG? So let's go ahead and read. So, finally, let's explain MAID RPG itself. Put simply, in this game, the Game Master is the Master, and the players take on the role of his maids. If you think this isn't the type of game you'd like to play, you're probably right. Still, we hope you enjoy reading the book. If it sounds appealing to you, you might share some of Kaya-sama's interest, and you should perhaps read it with the goal in mind to someday actually play the game. And it definitely, yeah, you're not wrong, Gray Matter. This is definitely like Caspian. I love that Caspian and people leave. It's just like, well, hey, do you want to play as an anime maid girl? And everyone just leaves. Oh God, and Slacker's on board already. But no, it's definitely something where you can tell that the author is definitely of the mind that he knows that this is a niche product. He knows that this isn't going to hit with every bit of audience, and he's tongue-in-cheek and sometimes full-on like telling you that this isn't for everyone and that this RPG is weird, and I love that. Like, I absolutely adore the fact that it is self-aware and that it is like it knows what it is and it's not ashamed of that. Because that is a very important thing when it comes to branding, where if you have a product and you know it is weird and it's out there and you don't embrace that, you're not going to have as fun a product at the end of the day. Where, even the stuff that I've put out, Titanic Triumph, Nirogaku, Mermaids of the Deep, Mermaids of the Depths, all of those things you can tell what I'm into reading those RPGs. You can tell what I think is important. But I'm not ashamed of that, and I even tell you several times in those rules that this is what I'm about, this is what I think is important, and if you think I missed something, or you think that these rules need to be expanded, go for it. 3 male friends I have that play female characters would love to play. 2 of them want to play this. There you go. You already have a potential audience for a MAID RPG. But let's keep reading. The PCs are maids that serve the master, and their adventures generally take place inside of his mansion. The game can take place in a fantasy setting, in outer space, or just a mansion in modern-day Japan. Within that setting, all kinds of stories are possible. That is, unless you want to do a realistic portrayal of modern maids. That might be a problem. MAID RPG is basically for slapstick comedy mixed with a little light drama. I suppose a serious love story isn't out of the question, but a silly, lighthearted approach works best for this game. Yeah, it is, again, it is very much, it is meant to be a one-shot. Also, see you later, Jedi Prime. I hope you have a good day at work. But yeah, it's already, again, we're a few paragraphs in, and already it's very clear that this is meant to be a one-shot. This is meant to be, a very much an improv game, that this isn't something where the dice are very important. I know there's dice coming up, but again, we're already being painted the picture where this isn't a dice-heavy game, which is an important distinction to make. But let's keep reading. The maid's daily lives in the mansion frequently become challenging adventures. The mansion might have a mysterious secret weapon underneath of it that's going to activate soon. The master could be tormented by a terrible monster, and so on and so forth. However, a maid's most formidable opponents are usually other maids who serve the same master. The maids who seem like they ought to be your friends will often become your greatest rivals. So in this game, the maids try their best to gain favor of the NPC known as the Master, and in doing so, can create countless stories. Okay. Alright, I'm not going to do the voice going forward, because if I keep doing that voice, I'm gonna run out of energy real quick. So maybe some will be the anime maid protagonist reading, some are just going to be me reading normally, because if I keep up that voice forever, I'm going to run out of breath pretty quickly. All right, so let's see what we got here. Mentioned this before. There are maids, the player characters. There's the master, portrayed by the GM. The roles are a little bit different. The GM still creates the scenario, but for this game, the scenario doesn't need to be very long or elaborate. And of course, the players create and control a maid character. The master, his maids, and the mansion where they all live. These 3 M's are constant regardless of the world where the game takes place. It's about the everyday lives of these elements. In the mansion, everyday life has action, intrigue, rivalries, laughter, tears, bloodshed, and so on. In order for the maids to act out freely within this exciting and happy lifestyle, the most important thing is for the players to have is imagination. Okay. Oh, here we go. As a player, you need to appreciate your maid's appeal and express that feeling through acting. If you can do that, a moving performance will result. Maybe. This is stuff that Kami-sama's came up with, so don't take it too seriously. In any case, I'm pretty sure there's no other game quite like this one. And that's important. Maybe. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and there's something I'd like to warn you about. The maids in this game can get away with doing all kinds of crazy things, but they do have limits. Very important distinction here. The rules give you a rough idea of what a maid can and can't accomplish. Maids who aren't good at athletics will have a hard time running around the mansion, and will probably have a hard time with tasks that require considerable manual dexterity, although you can probably get away with that by currying favor with the master. In handling things like the maid's special powers and favor, not to mention the game master's handling of the game, the laws of physics can become a bit twisted and weird. Because of that, you need to be careful of what rules the game does have, in order to keep it from descending into incoherent chaos. Oh, sometimes there are times where you want to ignore the rules, but you should at least keep the rules for maid types and special qualities. If you decide to play without using the rules too much at first, you might get lost as to what to do now and how. The appeal of this game is imagining and doing whatever you want, so I guess there's a bit of a contradiction there. Okay. This game seems to work best when the GM sets the PC tasks that lead into a story. Each player uses their own imagination, finds their own value in the game. You can't always get everything done right away, and that's fine. There are those who doggedly pursue things that have nothing to do with being a maid, and that's fine too, since they're finding their own way to enjoy the game. For the game master, keep in mind that it's important to try and express the situation as it appears in your head to the players. And naturally, you shouldn't be forcing actions on the PCs. Very important thing there. Because what they're telling you there is don't railroad your players, that this is a collaborative storytelling game. Ideally, it's better to have NPCs use conversation skills and cleverness to manipulate the player characters into doing what you want, rather than simply saying, you must do this next. Again, very important distinction. This is, you should not railroad, but if you do need to railroad, do it in character somehow. Don't tell them as the game master, you must do this next. Because players hate following railroads. You know, even at a one-shot, don't railroad your players blatantly. Do it in character. And that's a very important distinction that this system is making. Let's see what else it says. If you're using a scenario, have things run smoothly is important, but since having the game be enjoyable for everyone, participating comes first. Sometimes the scenario or rules will have to be sacrificed. Again, a very important distinction here, where unlike something like D&D, which to my knowledge doesn't say something like this until the Game Master section, the fact that they are telling you up front that fun should be foremost in your, what is important chart. And you have to keep in mind that this is something where this is how you get your anime friends interested in tabletop role-playing games. This is how you get someone who isn't really into D&D. This is something that you want them to have fun. Like, you don't want to be quabbling over rules and just, miring it down. And you want this to be a fun experience. And they are telling you that up front, which is very important. And yeah, as Grey Matter just said, you have anime fans that may not play games, and you have gamers that may not watch anime. And you're bringing those two audiences together, and you want to make sure that they have a good time no matter where they're coming from. And again, for that to be a distinction they're making up front, extremely important. Though, as I read here, while guiding the PCs and making sure the players have a good time, it's also important for the GM to have fun. That is something that Dungeons & Dragons doesn't say, to my knowledge. And it is an extremely, I will say extremely 3 more times, extremely important distinction. Because if the Game Master is not having fun, regardless of what the tabletop role-playing game is, then the experience is not going to be great. The best Game Master experience is when the Game Master is enabling the players, is having a blast, is having fun, throwing curveballs and challenging the players in interesting ways, and they are enjoying what they're doing. The Game Master not having fun, you can tell immediately. You can tell when the Game Master is phoning it in, when the Game Master is kind of gritting their teeth and just trying to run an adventure as quickly as possible. I think any tabletop role-playing game veteran knows, or at least has experienced, a time where a Game Master was running the adventure as quickly as possible, where they weren't, offering players a chance to roleplay. They weren't really giving the players a chance to find their own thing. And I think this is a common experience for anybody who did Adventures League for Dungeons & Dragons, where the Game Master has to run the adventure a certain way. And, some Game Masters are into it, but at least in my experience, there's definitely Game Masters that pretty much only do Adventures League because that's the only way they can get a game. And that could be an entirely different segue. But the long and short of it is, we've all had a Game Master who obviously wasn't having fun, and I don't think anybody can tell me that they had fun or, either playing or watching in that kind of a situation. All right. So let's return to skimming here and see what we have here. All right, so you need pencils and paper, pretty obvious. You need 6-sided dice. All right, so basic average dice that the average person will probably have around. No need to go out and buy fancy dice. You just need 6-sided dice here. You need friends. Well, that's the truth, and I think that's probably going to be the gatekeeper for most people. You need at least 2 other people to play with. So yeah, that might be the bottleneck. Do I have friends that want to play MAID? Maybe. Also interesting here. Basics, but weird. There you go. Alright, you might want a stopwatch since some rules and effects in the game go by real time. Okay, that's interesting that we have real-time mechanics on a stopwatch. Okay. Alright, I dig it. Things you probably won't need. Shame. Feeling shameful about pretending to be a maid? That kind of defeats the purpose. Again, this RPG knows what it is doing. This RPG is very much aware that if you're playing this game, you are committed to being a maid or a butler. There are rules for being a butler. We'll get to them eventually. But you are being told straight up front, do not come to this game with shame. Do not come to this game being afraid of cringe. This game embraces the cringe. This game embraces the silly, let's laugh at ourselves archetype. Which again, amazing. Please continue to do that. Things you probably won't need. A maid costume. Not that you can't have a maid costume, but it's not necessary to play. And it might be a little bit creepy. Imagination and all that. Oh my god. If you look cute in one, feel free to send us pictures. That is something that only works and only that is a relic from 2004 where, you know, people were unabashed like, hey, look, you know, if you look cute in a maid outfit, send us a picture. Like, that is something that is pure Japanese fun right there. Like, that is something where it's just so peak Japan and peak anime that, you know, I don't think I need to say anything further. I think we all know what's going on in that little paragraph. All right, let's see. Rolling dice. 1d6, you get a result between 1 and 6. Got it. Pretty easy. Number d6. How many d6 you're rolling? Got it. And you're adding them together. So if you roll a 4, 2, and a 1, the result is 7. There you go. Good stuff there. Then we have something here. Roll 2 6-sided die, assigning one to the tens digit and the other to the ones digit. This will give you one of 36 possible results numbered from 11 to 66, which is in turn used to determine the result from a random table. Okay, so this is a random table generator. This isn't a normal roll for somebody. This is just, hey, we need a result on a random table. Please roll me 1d66. Okay. 1d666. Ah, yes, the number of the beast. I think it's the same thing. Yeah, so 1d6 is the 100, 1 is the tens, and 1 is the ones. And you have 216 possible results numbered from 111 to 666. And this is only used for the optional item table in the optional rules. Okay, so again, very basic rules. We have a d6, and that's all you're rolling. And the math that's involved, very basic addition. No multiplication, no dividing, no subtracting. Literally just adding numbers together. Very basic. Okay. Let me see. So core rules, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's something I do want to highlight is the concept of a replay. And they actually explain what a replay is. And this is where a Western RPG differs from a Japanese tabletop role-playing game. And I'll read this and hopefully it'll explain a little bit better. A replay is a transcript of a game session. In the Japanese tabletop role-playing game scene, replays are included in most rulebooks to help give readers a better idea of how the game works, and they're also published in magazines and even as their own books and doujins. MAID RPG has 3 replays included here for your enjoyment, as well as to shed light on how the game plays. Because to my knowledge, most of the consumption of tabletop role-playing games, especially when it comes to VTubers like HoloLive and other sort of streaming people who do Japanese tabletop role-playing games, replays are how the audience mostly consumes such things. Where a one-shot in a Western market is very much different than a one-shot in a Japanese market, if that makes any sense. So we'll hopefully go over an example of what a replay is. But let's see. I feel like it would be easier to make people use percent rather than teach them to use the D6 thing. So Orphish, it's one of those things where a percentile die will only get you 100 results, and it's one of those things where not everybody's going to have a 2d10s or a d10 with a, a 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, that sort of type of d10. A d6, as Steve says, is ubiquitous, where everybody has a d6 somewhere in their house. And d6s are very easy to buy and come across. Whereas you would need a d10, you would actually need multiple d10s, ideally. That you would need, these, not really what we would call specialty die, but you would need dice that not the average person would have is in 2004. And it's true that you're not wrong, Orphish. You can roll dice on your phone and it's not a big deal. But again, you have to keep in mind that this is something where the, 1D Satan, as I'm going to call it, the 1D Satan roll, it's only for optional tables. So you're not even rolling it that often. This is really only used for an optional mechanic and is not something you're rolling 100% of the time. From the sounds of it, you're only rolling this maybe once or twice for a session, if that. So that's a good thing. And yeah, Gray Matter, it is true that as far as I'm aware, the World of Darkness took the replay concept from the Japanese, and they do have replays in their core book. So the World of Darkness kind of does this, and I think even Cyberpunk Red does this to some degree, where, you have these whole vignettes of, oh, so this is a replay of what happened in the session kind of a thing, and they flavor it to be an in-character story. So there are definitely some Western RPGs that take after the Japanese style of replay, but they are few and far in between, as far as I'm aware. All right, scenarios, pretty explanatory there. Optional rule mechanics, rules for butlers, generating masters and mansions, costume changes, item, random event tables, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me see. I'm just going to skim through here because this is fairly standard stuff. Action resolution is basically their term for rolling. Campaign. Okay, so they make it clear up front that the average game of MAID RPG will be standalone, so meant to be one-shots there. Combat in MAID RPG terms is any competitive action in combat normally results in the loser taking stress. Could be actual fighting or just competitive actions like baking a more delicious cake than an opponent or writing a better poem. Okay. Favor. Maids are awarded points of favor for pleasing the master and lose favor for displeasing him. Maids can spend favor on all sorts of things, including improving attributes and causing random events. Okay. Maid type. Each maid has 2 maid types that define her in very general terms. Each master has 1 favorite maid type. Okay, we already know about the mansion. That's where everything takes place. The master, because that's what everything, what the maids are serving. The mood is the overall tone of the game. Normal event is the same thing as a random event, but tied to a mood, and written with the scenario in mind. Okay, power source. Each master has 2 power sources that represents things that make him a great master. Power sources can be used to do a session order, which lets the master Okay, so basically this is, I have a power, I'm using it, I can do what I want. Makes sense. Right. Random event, same thing. Real time, certain things, most notably stress explosions, last for a certain number of minutes of time in real life. That is, if you're playing the game and your maid has a 20-minute stress explosion, and it is currently 3 o'clock on your real-life watch, it lasts until your watch says it's 3:20. Okay. All right. Romantic activities. When seduction comes into play, characters can remove stress by engaging in romance together. Again, peak 2004, peak Japan, romantic activities. All right, Japan, we see you. Seduction. Oh, God. They actually have rules for seduction. Oh, God. Seduction is an optional rule that lets characters emotionally dominate one another. Okay, let's just take a moment to appreciate that sentence. Seduction is an optional rule that lets player characters emotionally... All right, no, it's not player characters. It's just characters. That lets characters emotionally dominate one another. That's a sentence. That is indeed a sentence that has been printed and read. Yup. That is a thing. See, Slacker gets it. Like hand holding? But Kaya-sama, we can't hold hands? That'd be too lewd. Oh, but my dear little kitten-chan, if we hold hands, we'll be closer together. But Kaya-sama, I've never held hands with anyone before. It's okay, little kitten. Just let me hold your hand in this moment and everything will be okay. I'm just going to let that sit. Feel free to clip that out of context. Just feel free. This would not be a rule allowed at my tables. I mean, Gray Matter, let's be clear here. If you're playing MAID, you either are full-on cringe or you are just... It's like... Oh... Let's keep that. So seducing someone lets you control them, and being seduced lets you gain favor apart from what you might get from the master. Okay, so again, it's an optional rule. You don't have to have seduction, but there is a rule for it, which I kind of appreciate. Let's see what else we have here. Session, pretty straightforward. Special quality, characters have some special qualities, usually 2, that tell you what odd quirks they might have. They add flavor to the maid characters. Okay. Spirit, the amount of stress a character can take before having a stress explosion. Okay. Stress, a measure of how much stressors are getting to a character. Stress is gained from losing at combat. Okay, straightforward. Stress explosion. If your accumulated stress exceeds your spirit, you have a stress explosion. The conditions of a character's stress explosions are set during character creation. You have to do that activity for a number of minutes equal to the accumulated stress points. NPCs usually fall unconscious or sometimes even die if their stress exceeds their spirit. Okay. Let's see. Tragedy is an optional rule that ties into the seduction rules. If a character has a stress explosion as a result of a stress from a seduction relationship, a tragedy results, and the character or the relationship could take a turn for the worse. Okay. So another optional rule here to further expand seduction. Okay. But yeah, it's a good thing, as Grey Matter said, this is again a buy-in rule. This is an optional rule, not required. If you want to have it, great. If you don't want to touch on it, not required in the slightest. All right. Okay, so here we actually have is some English introduction from the translator. So hi there, this is Ewan, the translator. As amazing of a game as MAID the role-playing game is, it probably needs a little bit of extra explanation. Please bear with me, or just skip ahead, your choice. I think we're going to keep reading, Ewan. I think it's very important. We need to understand the context here. The original Japanese version of MAID RPG was first published in 2004 by Sunset Games, a small Japanese company that also puts out historical war games. A translated version of the tabletop role-playing game Ham Master, or is that Harn? I think it's Harn, not Ham. It's hard to tell. It looks like Harn. And some other quirky RPGs. MAID RPG started as a 32-page book with a replay and 2 scenarios crammed into it. There have since been 2 large sourcebooks, both published in 2005. Koisoru Maid, Maids in Love, contains a lot of optional rules, plus 2 replays and 3 scenarios. Yume Muro Maid, Dreaming Maids, has some more optional rules and tables and a grand total of 12 extra scenarios. This English version is a compilation of material from all 3 books. That is admittedly a lot of material. I know, I had to translate all of it. It is Harnmaster, groggiest of grognard games. Okay, so it is Harnmaster. Got it. Let me see. It weighed in at 232 pages across the 3 original books, but we basically had to choose between doing everything at once or facing the possibility that some stuff might never come out in English. As a result, despite the game's core rules being so very simple, the English version is epic. It has a ton of optional rules, 3 replays, and a whopping 17 scenarios. You may think of MAID RPG as a joke game you'd only ever play once, but you could play it for a very, very long time if you were so inclined. I know I plan to. And that is something that you got to appreciate from this paragraph, that the translator recognized that they could just translate the, as was stated, the just 32-page book and be done with it. And that's all that was needed, and, you know, they didn't need to go any further. But they looked at what material was there, and they decided, you know what? We are going to make this a passion translation. That we're going to sit down and we're going to translate everything. Because if we don't translate it, nobody else will. And that is honestly how a lot of fan translations work, is somebody sees an anime, or somebody sees a manga, somebody sees some Japanese material, you know, a light novel, whatever, and says, you know what? I want more people to enjoy this material. I want more people to consume this product, to consume this story, to consume this, material, to use the same word again. Like, this is something where already they are telling you that this was a passion project and that they are admittedly doing their best to bring everything to bear on the end reader. So this is a good passion project. Yeah, as Grey Matter said, the translation team understood the assignment. That for the most part, translations tend to start as passion projects, and then when there's enough sort of drive or enough interest in the passion project, then that's when a quote-unquote official English company gets involved and does an official translation into English. But, you know, there's this whole debacle of, is the fan translation better? Is the official translation better? And honestly, it's kind of a case-by-case basis. Being someone who worked both as a fan translator and an official as members of an official translation team, it very much matters, you know, case-by-case basis, whether a translation is good, whether or not the official is better than the fan. But, you know, that's getting in the weeds here. Let's keep reading. Organizing the whole thing was something of a challenge, especially since the entertaining example dialogues made it impossible to change the order in which the rules were presented. You'll see why I don't want to spoil it. What language does ELH speak? So, English. I speak English. I speak very, very small amounts of French from what I remember of high school, which is not much. I speak just a little bit of French. I speak just a little bit of Spanish. And I know enough to eyeball a translation I know enough to eyeball a Spanish or French translation. Like if I were to put it into Google Translate, or if I were to put it into DeepL, which, by the way, you should be using DeepL over Google Translate. Like, DeepL is the better of the two translation engines, in my opinion. But I'm something where if I put the translation into DeepL or Google Translate, I can go, yeah, that seems about right. Or, yeah, that's good enough. Where I have just enough knowledge of French and Spanish to be like, yeah, I would say it this way, or I would put it this way. But I'm definitely not conversational. Like, I could not, if someone were to speak to me in French or Spanish, I might be able to read it and go, okay, I think they're saying this. I'll reply in English. It's been so long since I've practiced either language that I cannot for the life of me speak it. So Klingon is something that I've tried to learn several times, but I just don't have the mind for Klingon, as weird as that is for me to say. Like, I've tried picking up Klingon, I've tried learning Japanese, I've tried learning Russian, I've tried learning, games with extra characters or characters that are pronounced differently, and it's just, I don't have the mind for that kind of language. Where, Spanish and French, some letters are, of course, pronounced differently, but for the most part, it is still English characters. Or, what is it? What is it called? Not Cyrillic. Cyrillic is Russian. What is the name of it? Is it Roman? Is it the Roman characters is what it is called? Yeah, I don't know. I forget what the actual character set is called, but basically anything that doesn't require me to, pull out a translation matrix to pronounce a certain word, I can kind of get those languages. And, that's okay. I don't need to speak every language. It would be nice to speak Japanese, but, in my day-to-day, I don't really get into it. Tokipona is a fun language that's easy to learn with only about 100 or so words. It is a fun community around it. Yeah, there's one of those things where there's a lot of these little languages, quote unquote, that has also techno. Hello. It's one of those things where, smaller languages like that are fun to learn and is kind of niche, and it's fun to be a little niche language and know how to speak it. But it's also something where, it's some people have a mind for languages and other people don't. Yeah, like Steve. Steve apparently took 4 semesters of Japanese in college and learned that they can't speak Japanese. Nothing wrong with that at all. Where, I took 3 years of French and I realized I would never be conversational in it, but the important part is I tried. And that is something that at least in my experience with the United States education system, it might just be unique to my area where I grew up, but learning a foreign language or taking a foreign language class was actually a mandate in high school, that you had to take 2 or 3 years of a language in order to get your diploma. And, I don't think many other high schools in the US maybe have that requirement, but it is something where, at least in my experience, I was sort of forced to go through, those years of French, those years of Spanish to get credit for my degree. I speak 2 languages, English and bad English. I mean, listen, it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, even me, a native English speaker, I butcher the language all the time, both in speaking and in writing. So I totally get it. But let's keep going. Let's see. Let me see. Although I've rearranged stuff where it seemed appropriate, forced to separate the rules into core and optional sections. Okay, so this is a very important distinction here. I have tried to keep the translation as faithful to the original as possible, but there are some things in the game that are just too far removed from the experiences of English speakers to translate directly. Okay, so they're already telling us up front that there's going to be things in MAID that are not going to translate to an English-speaking experience, and that's okay. But it's something where, again, this is a Japanese product. We're being told up front that the translation did have to take some liberties, which is an important thing to note, because if your translation doesn't admit that it's doing some localization, which is what the process is called, if your localization is not made clear up front, then you might have something where the localization teams go too far. And I think we all can look at a game or look at a manga or look at an anime where the localization team dropped the ball, went too hard. So it's an important distinction for Ewan, the translator, to make in this upfront. All right. Let me see. So maids have become a big deal in Japanese otaku culture, and Western anime fans are starting to catch on too. Special maid cafes where cute girls in maid costumes serves the customers and call them master have become a symbol of the otaku capital of Akihabara. Even with some anime conventions, even some American anime conventions have started offering their own maid cafes. There are a growing number of anime and manga titles dealing with maids and butlers. Some of these have some mature content, and I use the word mature loosely. Though if you're mature enough to read this book, you should be fine for any of them. And then they go into some examples of different manga and different examples of maid consuming. There are 2 maid cafes in Seattle. I believe it. Like, I've been to Seattle. I've been to some karaoke bars in Seattle. I believe it. I would fully believe that there's a maid cafe or 2 in Seattle. It makes sense. It's Seattle. It's weird. I love it. All right. Let me see. All right. I think we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. Actually, hold on. Let me read this paragraph real quick. I think there might be something. Let me see. In this game, a maid is something of a mythic figure from otaku culture. There's certainly nothing like the maids you're likely to encounter in real life. Kaya-sama's maids are all about indulging fantasies, though it sometimes is hard to say whose. And it'd be kind of absurd to speak in terms of a realistic portrayal of them. Okay. My experience thus far has been that people naturally find their own comfort zone, though that can be further into the realm of weirdness than you think. You don't have to get totally freaky to enjoy MAID RPG. It excels at weirdness, but you can run things that are downright tame as well, if you like. The happy birthday scenario, which they forgot to put the page number in, perfectly okay, is a good example of how the game can border on the mundane at times. When someone seems uncomfortable, talk about it and come to a solution. If someone is being a stick in the mud, find out why they're not joining in your twisted fun. So, very important distinction here, where again, this was a translation back in 2000. This was a game back in the 2000 era, where we didn't necessarily have we didn't really have safety tools in the way that we have safety tools in today's environment. So they didn't really have the X card. They didn't really have the, the red, yellow, green stoplight cards. We didn't have, session zeros. We didn't have consent charts. We didn't have all these safety tools which have been developed over time. But, and yeah, Orphish, we realized that earlier, that 2004 was 20 years ago. That, we're old. We're all old. But the fact that even we're being told that it's okay to stop and talk about what's making someone uncomfortable and to find a solution, that is something that makes this RPG, once again, a step above some of the modern RPGs that we've read. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the rules yet. We have literally just been talking about the introduction for the past hour. And already we have more flavor, more direction, and more fun than what we saw in 20 pages. Or how many pages? We're 11 pages in. We have seen more in the 11 pages of MAID RPG than we saw any in DC 20. And MAID RPG, free. You can get it for free. DC 20, 2 million some odd, 2 million something Kickstarter that has no soul, no identity. And then we have MAID, who we definitely have a soul here. This product has a soul. But let's keep reading. That said, in playing a game with Americans, both close friends and totally random strangers at conventions and the like, I've noticed a pattern in how they roleplay their maids. Either they almost completely ignore the master and run amok, or the ridiculously subservient to his every whim. Although you can certainly have an entertaining game either way, I want to take the time to point out that there is a middle road between the two extremes. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so they're basically saying that you want to try and find a middle ground between the two extremes, but the two extremes are perfectly valid play as well. All right, love it. And then of course we have cute little maid here. Love it. All right, I think we are finally on the rules themselves, and here we go. This is what took an hour for us to get to, and I think this is going to go pretty quickly. All right. Let me think. So they're telling you up front, with the exception of your main attributes, you may re-roll any aspects of character creation. So if you don't like your particular maid's special quality, can't think of a way that you can get into role-playing that kind of character, roll again and see what you can get. So, yeah, as far as I'm aware, this is free. There might be a official, like somebody might have done an official translation of it. But as far as I'm aware, this is a free copy that I got years and years ago. So somebody might have prettied this up and made it an official release for, some money, but I'm using the free fan translation here. So again, maybe there's an actual, official translation, but I'm using the fan version. Anyway, let's look at what attributes we got here. So roll 2d6, okay, and divide by 3, rounding down for each of the attributes below. So I don't like the fact. Yeah, this is definitely not Starline Publishing. This is not the Starline Publishing release. So that might be different. But this is a decades-old copy of MAID. So I don't like the fact that we're dividing anything, because dividing usually means you have to break out a calculator for some people, but it's not that bad. You're dealing with small numbers, a max of 12, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So it's not terrible. Yeah, I'm wondering the difference too, Gray Matter. I might have to see what the difference is between this copy and the Starline copy is. But so divided by 3 isn't great, but it's also not tremendously terrible. It is manageable. But let's keep reading. So athletics, physical ability is combat ability. Affection, how good you are at forming bonds with your master and other maids. Skill, how good are you at your maid duties. Cunning, how capable are you tricking enemies, other maids, and deceiving the master. Luck, just how lucky are you. And will, how positive and constructive is your thinking. Okay, interesting. In order to get the image of the character, determine her maid types. Roll 1d6 twice to get 2 maid types. You can have a particular maid type twice. Apply the bonuses and penalties from the character's maid types to her attributes. 0 is the lowest an attribute can go. If negative modifiers from maid types reduce it to -1 or -2, write down 0 instead. And we're going to immediately look to the right at the maid type chart. We have the Lolita type maid, where you get a bonus to luck and a minus to athletics. And I don't think I need to describe what Lolita is. Then you have the sexy maid type, which you get cunning and bonus to cunning and a minus to will. I don't think I need to tell you what the sexy maid type is. You have the pure maid type. You have a bonus to affection and a minus to cunning. Again, pure, very self-descriptive. Cool maid type. Bonus to skill, minus to affection. And you have the composed, expressionless, the unflappable, the doll-like, the kudere. Then you have the boyish maid type, which is your tomboy. Love it. You don't need to tell us, but it would be funny. I mean, it would be funny for a bit. But I don't want to get canceled. There's only so much of a bit I can do before I get canceled. But boyish is your tomboy maid. Everybody loves a good tomboy maid, and if you don't, you're lying. And then you have the heroine maid, which is, your quote unquote your Naruto, your what's another good example? Your anime protagonist, where it's like, yeah, I want to be the best maid possible. I'm gonna try my very best to. No, the heroin maid does not use heroin. No, not the heavy drug use maid. No, for legal reasons, Twitch, this is a joke. No. Oh. But no, the maid types are very, very, self-explanatory. Where you've got the young maid, the big booba maid, the, oh, I'm pure and hand-holding, how could I ever do such a thing, pure maid. We got the cool, I am a cool maid. I never lose my cool, and I do very cool things. Look at how cool I am. And then you have the tomboy maid, which, just chef kiss. Love tomboy maids. And then you have the anime protagonist maid. Okay. Step 3, maid colors. Roll D66 on the maid color tables and combine the two colors to determine the color of your maid's uniform. You may also use this table to roll for your maid's eye and hair colors. Okay. So, and I'm going to have to scroll up here so you can see it. So, immediately, you have an ability to randomize the color of your maid, which is okay. I'm sure you could probably just pick whatever color you wanted. But if you're stuck, just roll, and you can get a color for your maid. And I'm sure some colors are going to clash horribly. But that's half the fun of a random generator. Nothing is cooler than actively pointing out how cool you are at any and all opportunities. Yes, Slacker Unchained understands the assignment. You get it. You understand the assignment. Well done. But yeah, it's just... For a lot of people, they're like, why would you ever have a maid color table? Like, what importance does this have? Again, this is something is meant to be a fun, random thing that if you're having stuck trying to come up with, what does my maid look like? This can be an important step of, oh, I guess my maid has a green and orange, or has a black dress, or has a transparent, or has a rainbow, style of uniform. It helps form a picture for people who are stuck, and also for people who love the randomness of a maid or randomness of a character. They are going to fully embrace this, even though it's a mechanic that doesn't really, or at least as far as I'm reading, doesn't really do anything in the roleplay. It is something, yeah, Steve says it well. Color can be a very, very important thing for an anime character. Just look at a magical girl. Would Sailor Moon be as iconic if we didn't have her white, reds, and blues? If Sailor Moon was all pink, would she still be Sailor Moon? The answer, maybe, maybe not. Would Sailor Mercury be the same without her trademark color? It's something where color can be a very important identity for a character. So, an important step, but not necessary. You can just very easily choose a color if you already have a vision. But let's keep reading. The next step is to determine your maid's special qualities. These are various physical, mental, or social traits that distinguish her from her fellows. Normally, maids get 2 special qualities, but the game master may wish to increase this between 3 and 5 in order to make the game more interesting. Though they do say that having 3 or more make it hard to role play in the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is weird. It is weird that. So I think I read that wrong actually, Orfish. Reading back, so D66 is the color of your maid's uniform. So you're not actually getting two colors here. So let's say, for example, if I roll a 2 and a 3, I would be having a green uniform. So it isn't you have 2, which is green, or 2, which is purple, and 3, which is green, or whatever combination that is. It's not 2 colors here, and I think I said and read that wrong. So you could have 2d6 for 2 colors, but you're right. It does say combine the two colors. So I think that might just be the weirdness of play. So let's again look at the table here. So if I roll 1 and a 2, so we'll say the first die is the left column and the second die is the top column. So if I roll 1, 2, so I roll red and then purple. So 1, 2 is purple. So they want you to use purple. They don't want you to go red and purple. They want you to do purple here. So, trying to look here. What is it? Because we kind of have to look at a diagonal what it is that they're combining. So, red. So, it's red, blue, yellow, white, black, and transport and rainbow. So those are already combined here. And that's where we're getting kind of the full chart here, where they're already applying the combination. So red, the pure colors that are combining are on the diagonal here. So that's why we see things already combined like purple and orange and pink and brown. So those have already been combined for us. So that's an important distinction to make. But anyway, let me see. We'll keep reading and then we'll look at the special qualities table. Let me see. Etc. Roll on the MAID roots in the stress explosion tables, or the GM may allow you to choose. If you're using MAID weapons, choose there. Okay. And then MAID power. Find your highest attribute and roll 1d6 on the corresponding MAID power table. If 2 or more attributes are tied for highest, you may choose which table to use. Also, for all if the total of your attributes is 9 or less, you choose 2 MAID powers. If your starting favor is equal to your affection score times 2, your spirit is equal to your will score times 10. And it can start at 0. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's start looking at these random tables here. And I think we have an interesting, we have some very, very big tables here. So let's just scroll through here. So you could end up with glasses. You could end up with freckles. You could be sickly. You could be quiet. Could be easygoing. Could be a neat freak. You could have brown skin. Could be an albino. You could be shy. You could be actually a guy. There you go. Actually a guy. You're actually a guy or a cross-dresser, ? And the rules for Butler are the same. They're probably going to be the same as MAID, but that you're just a dude. That you're just straight up a dude. But we'll get to Butler Rules eventually. But I just love the fact that they're like, yeah, you're actually a guy. Have fun with that. I love that that's a special quality that you could end up with. You could have an overactive imagination. You could be greedy. You could have elf ears. You could be a Nekomimi, which basically a cat girl. Everybody knows the cat girl MAID. Everybody loves a cat girl MAID. You could be an android. Dude, I can't sing, but yes, the fact that we're bringing out classic rock, 5 points to you, Techno. 5 points to you indeed. The android MAID, yup. The vampire maids, yup. We all know vampire maids. You could be a princess maid, love it. You could be an angel or devil, And then we get into, if you roll these or choose these, you have another table to roll on. So you've got uniform special table, you have a symbol special table, delinquent special table, accent special table, hairstyle is special, accessory is special, Vince Neil's master's favorite maid. You're not wrong. Relationship or perversion special table, criminal tendencies, injury, tragic love, dark past, trauma, secret job, membership, shapeshifter, monster, magic, absurd. Yeah, like, so they're already, we're seeing a lot of special tables here. And that is one of the charms of the Japanese style of play, is that the Japanese, from my experience, love their random tables. Absolutely love them to death. So if there's something that could be a random table, they have made it a secondary table. And yeah, Orphish, you might be thinking, do we really need a secondary table for all these? Yes. The answer is yes. For what this game is trying to do, yes. So, oh, they actually go right into the secondary tables. So let's see. So for uniform special table, we have tights. Okay, so you've got leotards, you have skirts, things of that nature. Okay. You could have a China dress. Well done there. No comment needed. China dress, chef's kiss. Love it. Armor. Your maid uniform is actually a stylized suit of metal armor. Love it. Love a good maid in armor. Love it. Bondage. That's a thing. Bondage. Your uniform is shiny leather or rubber or leather. Generally a bit suspicious. Yeah, that's one way to put it. A bit suspicious. Okay. All right. Yeah. Bondage maid. Okay. All right. No comment needed there. All right. Miniskirt. Your skirt is very short to the point where one can almost see its contents. Straightforward. I don't think I need to explain that anymore. I think we all know what's involved there. Mm-hmm. Oh God. Let me see if I can say this correctly. I think it's Capo-ugi is how that's pronounced, as Capo-ugi. Instead of a Western-made uniform, you wear a Japanese-style one with a kimono and an apron over it. So Japanese-style one. Okay. Reverse bunny suit maid? Exactly. That would be the bondage bunny suit maid, I think. Armor. Perfectly normal. Rubber and leather. Deeply questionable. Yes. See? You get it, Steve. Peak Japan. You get it. You get the assignment. Well done. You understand. All right, so that's the uniform table. Let's look at symbol tables. Skull, bat, cross, yin yang, star, card suit. Okay, nothing special. Nothing amazing there. So ELH, is there going to be an underwater household maid of mermaids? Maybe? I mean, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to process that. So, the ELH mansion. What maids would be in the ELH mansion? Let's think about that for a moment. Well, I mean, let's just go back up to the special table here. So, and we have to combine tables here. So obviously, we would have to have a boyish. Probably a boyish, so a tomboy. Oh God, would I want the tomboy to be an angel/devil or a Nekomimi? Oh, you're specifically thinking of the mermaid setting. Well, I'm taking this an entirely different direction. I think a tomboy Nekomimi, tomboy catgirl maid. Yes, very well done. I think you have to have a cool vampire or a cool princess maid. And then third maid. What would the third maid be? I think you have to have the third elf ears delinquent. That's also cool. Yeah. So 2 cool maids and 1 tomboy maid is what I would go with if it were my household. You've been AFK for a bit. What'd you miss? We're just asking the important questions, like which maids I would actually want in my employ. So we're just going through tables here. But let's keep reading. Delinquent special table. Cigarette. Classic anime trope there. Classic anime trope. The cigarette smoking maid. Gotta love it. Tattoo. Straightforward. Sunglasses. Pretty straightforward. Bad expression. Mm-hmm. Piercing. Yup. And rough speak. Okay, it's basically speaking like a delinquent. Love it. And then we have the accent table, which they did note earlier in the translation that it is something that had to be localized because different areas in Japan have different dialects where, and I hope this is the correct example, someone from, say, Tokyo is going to speak drastically different, or at least in terms of accent, than someone from, say, Osaka. I think I've got that right. I might be wrong. Yell at me if I'm wrong. But it's something that had to be localized for accent. So you could have, y'all could be Southern and talk like some kind of country bumpkin or something from the South. Or you could have something like, well, you speak with a British accent of some kind, though whether or not you're from the United Kingdom, or you are now double British, or perhaps Scottish, or Welsh. Or perhaps you are Pidgin English, where it's a Pidgin language, where, you know, you're speaking kind of a Pidgin, and Pidgin is a whole thing. Meow. The meow accent, where you like to sprinkle cat sounds in your speech every now and then. Okay. I'm surprised that that's not a special quality, but what do I know? Knight. You sound like a knight from a movie, or possibly a Renaissance Fair reject. Oh god. Cutting deep. Renaissance Fair reject. God. Cutting deep. The MAID RPG pulling no punches. Oh. Foreigner. So you pick a different nationality for your maid. So Centauria, perfect example of a knight maid in this instance. My maid speaks Uwu. Yeah, if this was redone in modern times, Uwu would most definitely be an accent here. Probably roped underneath the meow, if I had to guess. All right, let's go through here. Hairstyle: long ringlets, dumplings, mesh, curly hair, one-eye hair. One-eye hair, peak quality. If your maid does not have one-eye hair or does not have twin tails, don't speak to me. My maids will always have one-eye hair or twin tails. Mandatory. They must have one or the other. See, Desu, I don't think Desu was a big enough thing to make it into the chart here. Like, I could be wrong, but I don't think Desu, at the time of writing of this RPG, I don't think it was as big as we remember it being. Yeah, though it could also be something where Desu got lost in translation. But yeah, one-eye hair or twin tails, mandatory for ELH's maids. Must be known. Let me see. Let's go to accessory. Collar. You've got a collar. Yes, all maids must have collars. Mandatory. Large ribbon in your hair. Spike. Okay. Maybe combine spike and collar. Chef's kiss. Love it. Chains. Pretty self-explanatory. Black leather gloves. Can be fingerless or have rivets. Okay. You have a pet. You have a cat, snake, raven, or other small animal as a pet that rests on your shoulder or in your hand. Okay. Interesting. Relationship. You have a sibling. Okay. You have a childhood friend. Okay. You've got a mentor. You've got a friendly rival. You have an ex-lover love rival. Okay. So love triangle stuff. Or you have vengeance. Okay. Oh my god, they did it. All right, here we go. Here's the perversion, the table everybody was waiting for me to read out loud. You might be a nymphomaniac. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Can you imagine rolling on this and be like, well, I am a knight maid that's also a nymphomaniac. GM, how the hell do I roleplay this? Dude, don't look at me. I don't know how you play an nymphomaniac maid. And then somebody goes, well, actually, if you were to consider a certain anime called Konosuba, which you should absolutely peruse in its original manga form, for I believe that the anime is a poor adaptation of the superior Japanese original form, you will find that there is a character there, which is precisely a knight nymphomaniac. can't believe I just did that. Yeah, that might have revealed some demons in my closet. We're just gonna process that for a moment. But yeah, nymphomaniac. I don't think I need to explain that one. Sadist. Yeah, that's another. You know, your maid is a sadist. Good job. Have fun with that. Yeah, night masochist. A night masochist is another good one. Yep. I think we all know that one. Oh yeah, those demons were totally in the closet, GLH. Listen. The amount of demons in my closet, like, I've had to compress that closet like 3 or 4 times at this point. Like, if this was Minecraft, like, I would have been making 9x9 by 9x9 by 9x9 over and over again until the thing is just so compressed that any more compression, and we're looking at neutron star level densities, maybe black hole level densities. There are just so many demons in that closet that it's almost a singularity. That's how many demons are in that closet right now. So, you know, every once in a while, a few escape. Just a few. Let me see what else. So we have Womanizer. Interesting. Likes them young. Yup, that's your Ara maid. Yup. And Exhibitionist. Yup. That's a perversion, all right. Yup. Can you imagine rolling let me scroll up here. Can you imagine rolling a bondage uniform and a exhibitionist? I mean, does that basically mean that you go in shibari rope tie everywhere? Oh god. Yeah, that's probably exactly what has to happen. Oh god. ELH's hypercube of kings. Honestly, it's the kind of hypercube where, you know, it's so large and has so many things in there that it's actually looped back around to hand holding is the most perverted thing. Like we've 4D looped back around to hand holding is how many are in there. Shibari, but it's all ribbons, leather ribbons, but still cute ribbons. Yeah, it's just, again, Japan at its finest, everybody. Japan at its finest. Hyperbolic King Chamber. Vegeta, I have to train under 200 times gravity. Kakarot, what are you talking about? 200 times? That's pathetic. I can handle up to 300 times gravity. I probably should try and do a Vegeta voice at some point. I need to think about how I would do that. But let's see what else. Criminal tendencies. You have a bad habit of killing people. Okay. Interesting. Pyromaniac. You love setting fires. Okay. Kleptomaniac. Don't be a kleptomaniac. Even if you roll kleptomaniac, don't be a kleptomaniac. Nobody likes a kleptomaniac. Like, the most lol random characters I've ever had to deal with in a tabletop role-playing game were kleptomaniacs, where they would just constantly steal things from other players, other NPCs, and it was always lol random. So, my advice, re-roll if you get kleptomaniac. Don't be that. Addict. Okay, you're addicted to something. Don't think I need to... Techno. Kleptos always steal the show. I need to have a button on my keyboard that just does the drum roll, like ba-dum-bum. Because once again, chat is funnier than I am. But that's, you know, that's... no, just get your coat. That's nothing new. Chat is always going to be funnier than I am, because I usually play the straight man when it comes to comedy. Alright, you have an otaku maid. Okay. I don't know why that's under criminal. Stalker. Oh, that's... okay. Alright, sure enough. Injury. Patchwork, one eye, burns, whip scars, bandages, blind. Interesting. Tragic love, separations. Love never works out for you. Okay. Your lover died. You killed your lover. Interesting. Former sex worker. Okay. Interesting. Betrayal. All right. Stalker damage. Okay, so this is kind of a dark table. Yeah, we went from, you know, fun things to, oh, this is kind of dark. No, I don't have a tumbler, Oarfish. I do not have a tumbler. Let me see. Dark past, former delinquent. Okay. Former killer, amnesiac, bad reputation, wanted, runaway. All right. Trauma table. Yeah, I don't think I need to read out trauma table because there's definitely some toss stuff here. I think we all can understand that the trauma table is going to be dark. No, I'm never going to let you have my AO3. Nope, you're never going to have my AO3. So trauma table's trauma. I don't think I need to explain what that's involving. Secret job. Assassin, hacker, scientist, doctor/pharmacist, Dojin artist, procreator. Okay, pretty cool stuff there. Membership, evil secret society, a secret agency, a cult, political organization, a shadow clan. Yeah, I thought about that too, Oarfish. Procreator? Yeah, that's a choice of words right there. I would maybe change that to be a skilled creator rather than procreator. But maybe that's a tongue-in-cheek joke. We're not sure. Bondage maid nympho scientist. There you go. There you go. All right. Shapeshifter. Fox. Yes. Fox. Yes. Love foxes. Yes, please more foxes. Spiders. Funny. It's okay. So funny thing, and this is revealing what's in my closet. I hate real life spiders. Like I'm borderline arachnophobic. But when it comes to spider girls, yes, all my yes. I love spider girls. And I honestly cannot tell you why. I do not know why I hate real spiders, but like spider girls. It is a weird thing that I have tried to understand and have failed multiple times to explain. I don't know. Spider girls hot. Actual spiders? Hell no. Please get them away from me. It's not revealing what's in your closet. I was there for the Cyberpunk quest way back when. Oh god. Oh god, that is a deep cut. That is, oh god. I always forget you're one of those old guards, Steve. My god, that is an old deep cut, the Cyberpunk quest that I ran way back when. Wow, that was a time in our lives. That was a thing. That was indeed a thing. And it's one of those things where it doesn't have to be a centaur type of Spider Girl, but even the centaur type of Spider Girl is okay in my book. Like, again, I cannot describe why that is okay, but a real life spider freaks me the hell out. I cannot explain why. But let's keep reading. Raven shapeshifter. Okay. Bunny. See, I think bunny are overdone. I think bunnies are overdone. So bunny doesn't do anything for me, but hey, some people love bunny. Is this a Maid's reading stream or Unpack of ELH stuff stream? Listen. Is there really a difference? Is there really a difference when it comes to Maid? I think we all know what we were getting into when we started reading this RPG. I think we all know. If there's a black hole Maid on this list, I'm checking out. I don't think black holes were in vogue at the time of writing of this. But if this was an ELH writing, yeah, there would be a black hole Maid on here. There would definitely be a black hole Maid. Mm-hmm. Yep. Tiger/lion shapeshifter. Lions and tigers. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Tigers are cool. Love me a tiger. Snake. Snakes are okay. Snake girls. Snake girls are good. Snake girls also have interesting connotation, Yeah, bears. Bears are another good one. Bears are good. Lion, tigers, and bears. Yeah, bears are good. Love it. Oh, here we go. Here's where mermaids were. I'm like, they have to have actual mermaids somewhere. Here we are. They're under the monster table. So mermaids. You're actually a mermaid. Congratulations. There we go. There's our mermaid that we were looking for. Max affected bondage, black on black color. Black hole maid is a go. No. It can't be black on black. You need orange or yellow on black for it to be a true black hole maid, or maybe a little bit of red as well. But okay, so we have mermaids, we have zombies or mummies, we have werewolves or were-tiger. Yes, you know what? Forget werewolf. Let's talk about were-tigers for a moment. Can you imagine how cool that would be? To be like, oh no, it's the full moon. ELH-sama, step back. I don't want to hurt you. But, Juyun-san, but I would always appreciate you. You're my favorite maid. No, you don't understand, ELH-sama. Juyun-sama, you're a were-tiger. You know what? I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with this. No. I you know, the ears and the big fluffy paws, and yeah, I'm okay with this. Yeah, this is okay with me. You thought you could hurt me? No, that's okay. Yeah, I could go for some Urumice right now. All right, yeah, okay. All right, I'll go sit at the table, and that's the end of that bit. You could be a succubus. I don't think I have to describe what a succubus is. Ghost maid. Yeah, don't have to explain that one. Shinigami. The Reaper maid. Black hole maid is an all-black uniform with an orange hula hoop. Yeah, I can see it. Black hole maid, won't you fade and wipe away this dust? Won't you fade? Oh God, what song is that? Like, I can sort of hear it in my head, but I just can't get the cadence right. That's definitely... Is it Soundgarden? Black Hole Sun. Oh, that's what it is. Black Hole Sun. Thank you. Yeah, that's a cut. Yeah, I love it. 10 points to you. 10 points to Slack Run Chained. Love it. Chef's kiss. God, I haven't thought about that song in its entirety in a long while. Love it, though. Absolutely love it. But let's see. Magic. You could be a priestess. Okay. You could be a Eastern-style magic practitioner based on Taoist principles. Okay. Be a fortune teller. Could be a Western magician. Could be a devil summoner. Could be a necromancer. Okay. I've had my picture taken with a tiger. Imagine a cat. A normal house cat with all its quirks. Now make it fucking huge. Like 800 pounds huge. Yeah, like, my cat is already 15 pounds because she's a Maine Coon. And she is, she's very temperamental and very much a tsundere, where she will attack my leg if I don't feed her on time. And she will sit on my chest and bat at my nose if I don't wake up on time. So imagining her as a tiger is terrifying, because that's 800 pounds of just muscle mass that is just tearing into you. It is a horrific thought. Cat, if I fits, I sits. Tiger, I sits. Exactly, you get it, Orfish. You get it. Alright, let me see. Absurd, you could be an alien. You could be a cyborg. You could be a runaway ninja. There you go, runaway ninja. You could be a magical girl. Yes. Love it. Fairy. Yup. And a mutant. Yup. Absurd 1. Alien is your black hole maid. Yeah, you know what? I guess technically you could put a black hole maid under alien. That would work. Yeah, I could see it working. All right, and now we get into the what is the roots of your maid, what it is that you come from. Debts. So you have a lot of debts. You're a slave. Okay, a mistress. Wow. Okay, they went there. They went there. Okay. Revenge. That's interesting. The master is your hated enemy, and you are infiltrating his mansion in order to extract revenge. Okay, interesting. I love it. Orphan, illegitimate child, hereditary maid, okay. Self-punishment. In order to punish yourself for your inexperience or sins, you have taken up the job of a maid. So, what's the list at this point? Bondage, black on black, exhibitionist, masochist, self-punishment. That's just how many things can we tack on to this poor maid at this point? Unrequited love, yeah. Business, okay. Infiltrator, all right, pretty straightforward. Loyalty, nothing there. Childhood friend, classic archetype, love it. Childhood friends, love it. Admirer of maids, I can see it. That's an otaku thing. Returning a favor, distant relative, bridal training. Interesting. Bridal training. You became a maid in order to prepare yourself to become an ideal bride someday. Who knows? You're not really sure how you wound up becoming a maid. Master equals mauled by tiger assassin maid. Master, joke's on you. I'm into this shit. And to be clear, it's a were tiger assassin maid because that shit's awesome. Just want to be clear there. I'm sure there's probably like a big appetite always eating. Like that could probably be under addiction. Or maybe it's I would be surprised if it's not under. Yeah, there is. It's in the stress explosion. That's where the stress eating is. So again, stress explosions are things that happen when you're stressed, and that's how you deal with stress. So alcohol, drugs, yup. Stealing, yup. Violence, gambling, pretty straightforward. Racing, Teasing and mischief, pretty straightforward. Running away, complaining, seclusion, crying, yup. Crying is a good one. Rampage, not my favorite, but I get it. Shopping, yup. Sleeping and binging, yup. Praying, spoiled child, and player choice. Okay, good stuff. Oh god, alright, I think Techno Nerd has narrowed it down. A pink, twin-tailed assassin otaku were-tiger that's into bondage. If they're a tomboy on top of all that, yes, we have our maid. We have our perfect maid. Yes, that is our perfect maid. A pink, twin-tailed, tomboy, assassin otaku were-tiger that's into bondage. Print it and clip it. Done. Yes, that is the perfect maid. Love it. Let me see. So maid weapons are... Okay, so they say that maid weapons are ornamentation and do not grant any special abilities, and they're just to show a way for the character to use her athletics to fight, and they don't really serve to give the character an advantage in combat, as they are to make action scenes cooler or give the maid character a flavor. Okay. So let's just quickly scroll through these. Mop broom, stun gun, kitchen knife, frying pan, vase, hand-to-hand, revolver. Yeah, so you got all types of guns, all types of interesting things. Like you got scythes on there. You've got morning stars on there. Whips are a good one. Claws are a good one. Magic, psychic powers, book. Yeah, just beating people with a book. That's a good one. All right, so now we're getting into the maid power, and this is again based on your highest attribute. So if your highest attribute is athletics, you can have super evasion. Okay. You can have an iron wall to defend up to 2 other characters. You can trespass. Okay. You can pull a weapon seemingly from nowhere and get a surprise attack. Okay. You have a giant weapon. Ultimate retort. You can completely blow off an opponent by delivering a good retort and making it impossible to defend against. Interesting. Okay. Highest attribute is affection. You can make a request that cannot be refused by taking stress. So you just basically use maiden tears. Okay. World for 2. By taking 1d stress, you can create a world for you and one other person for 5 minutes. No one else can intrude. So the reality marble or domain expansion. Okay, rolled for 2. I like it. I like it. Power of friendship. You can take stress to remove stress from somebody else. Good. It's a good one. When someone eats food that you've prepared, they lose stress. Good one. Yep. Windows of the soul. You understand the master's feeling better than anyone and can offer help. Yup. That's a good one. Passionate gaze. With just a glance, you can ingratiate yourself with the master, taking stress to gain favor. Yup. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. If your highest attribute is skill, you can walk into any room you want, even if someone is using rolled for 2. Oh god, can you imagine someone making a reality marble, and then right as they're about to kiss the master, you know, the yandere or the love rival busts into the world and goes, "What do you think you're doing?" Sakura-chan, I was just helping Mei-chan adjust her headdress. That isn't what it looks like to me, ELH-chan. You were about to kiss her, weren't you? No, you got the wrong idea. And then we see Mei-chan pull out her claws and go, "Think very carefully about what you're about to say, ELH-sama, because if I don't like the answer, I might have to do something drastic." No, it's okay. Everything's okay. No. And then ELH was mauled by the awesome otaku were-tiger maid. Okay, yeah. And that's the end of that bit. Let me see. So you can be undetectable when following someone. You can force someone to admit if they've lied. Okay. Add 1 to your skill for the purposes of cooking. Add 1 to your skill for the purpose of cleaning. You can produce anything in the mansion from within your maid uniform. And actually, yeah, unlimited feather duster works. Can you imagine having 4D dress? That would be amazing. Like 4D dress and you just create unlimited feather duster works. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Works speech. Hold on. Okay, get your clips ready, because here we go. I am the bone of my mop. Cleaning is my body, and affection is my blood. I have served over 1,000 masters, unknown to death, nor known to life. I've withstood pain to create many maids, yet these hands will never hold anything. So, as I pray, unlimited maid works! Probably could have done that better if I'd had a few more moments to think about it. But there you go. There's your right off the cuff, unlimited maid works. There you go. Have fun with that. Anyway, keep going. Your highest attribute is cunning. When other maids make mistakes, you can gain the right to punish them. Okay, fun stuff there. Instant restraint. If you win a roll of cunning versus athletics, you can restrain someone from doing something indecent. Very important role to have for somebody who's an exhibitionist. Very, 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 very important. Very important thing there. Coercion. Interesting. Could you use your 4D dress to clone yourself others? You know, that's a good question. It does say you can produce anything in the mansion. I would say that you are in the mansion. Other maids are in the mansion, so I would say yes, you could quite literally pull out another player from your maid dress. I would rule that yes, that would be a thing you could do. That makes sense to me. Yeah, I say that's something you could do. All right. Let me see. So you can have a trap prepared in advance in battle. Nothing there. Fake crying. Okay, nothing there. Now let's take a look at luck. Let's see what we got here. You can use your luck to dodge an attack. You saw it. You can declare that you've seen something happening in the mansion and decide the timing. You can teleport anywhere in the mansion. I love it. teleports behind you. Nothing personal. Escape, you can completely... Yeah, I don't think it creates them. I think it just summons them. Yeah, that's how I would roll it, Orfish, is that you could summon them, but you couldn't, like... Maybe creating clones is a bit too much for 4D dress, is how I would rule it, maybe. But let's see. You can escape from any battle. You have a sense of foreboding, where you can tell something dangerous is coming. You can make an NPC that's just showing up for the first time be an acquaintance from some time before. That's kind of my favorite thing, where it's like, oh yeah, I know this person that you've introduced. I always like doing that to game masters, which I know it sometimes annoys game masters, where I'm like, oh yeah, Thomas Chan. Yeah, I know Thomas Chan. We go way back. We went to school together, and he was in my class, and he was like 4 rows over from me. And he always was looking out the window and, never paying attention and getting hit by chalk. Yeah, I remember Thomas Chan. We go way back. Like, sometimes a good game master will roll with that and be like, oh, yeah, Thomas Chan. He recognizes you immediately and, says, oh, yeah, I remember you, ELH Saman. I hope you're doing well, and that whole thing. Yeah, chalk, the stereotypical Japanese thing of getting hit by a piece of chalk when you're not paying attention in class. It's a thing. It happened in Persona. Therefore, it must be real. Happens all the time in Persona, actually. Which, if you've never played Persona, would recommend 3 Reloaded or 5 Royal. Would recommend. Chalk-kun. Yeah, there you go. Alright, what do we got for Will? During a battle, even if you're sent flying, you don't take any stress because you're immune to pain. Like it. Crisis Adrenaline. You can spend 1d6 points of favor to add an athletics roll to your stress. Okay. Persistence, you redress the amount of stress taken. Tenacity, you can take 2 stress to get to your feet even after being defeated. Hard work gets a +3 to the end result of skill rolls. Absolute Maid, you are the very epitome of a modern major maid. I have information... Feather duster, mopping. Oh God, how would I? Because okay, so when I was in high school, we did the Modern Major General play, the name of which I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but we did the Modern Major General thing, and at the time, I was the type of theater nerd that worked in tech. I was the one that did the lighting. I was the one that helped with costumes here and there, but I was a tech. But the thing was, I was at the time one of the very few people that could do the Modern Major General song by heart. And they were very much trying to find people to do the Major General. They were trying to get people who could do the pattering, because it's a pattering song. It's something where you have to have the right oral skills to do the Major General. Clip it. Gilbert and Sullivan, Pirates of Penzance. Thank you, Orfish. Thank you. But it was something where, all the people... Also, Kern, hello. It was something where the other theater kids could not do the Major General song. So, they're scrambling like, God, we got to find somebody to do the Major General song. Who can we do? And then I sigh. I get up from my booth, controlling all the lighting, and I go on stage, and I just start belting out the Major General song. And it wasn't perfect, if you don't know me by well, I do have a stuttering problem sometimes, and I do have instances where I trip over my words, and it wasn't as pronounced when I was a kid, at least in certain times. Sometimes it was worse, but... I rattled off the Major General song. And it was one of those things where everybody came over like, ELH, you're the closest we've had so far. You got to get on stage in front of all these people and, you got to be our Major General. And it was like, I can't act that well. I mean, I could belt the song out, but can I do the Major General's part? Is that something I can do? And it was very much, I was very reluctant to do it. But at the end of the day, I said, screw it. I'll just do it and see what happens. And we only really performed the thing once because it was a one and done play. And I don't remember much, but I remember getting on stage. I remember looking out at the audience, and I remember thinking to myself, well, either I'm about to nail this thing, or I'm about to be ridiculed for the rest of my fucking life. And I nailed that fucker. I nailed the shit out of that song. I am very proud of that moment. Oh god, we have 2 from chat. Alright, let me see if I can do these. Let me see. Let's start with Gray Matter. I am the very model of a modern major maid. I tidy up the mansion with precision and my trade. I dust and sweep and polish, and I make beds with care. With sweeping skills of cleaning excellence, I'm truly beyond compare. Love it. 10 points. Love it. Alright. Then let's see if I can do Techno Nerds. I am the very model of a modern major general. I organize the manor by rooms and alphabetical. On full-on moons, I transform into something catechal. I have infinite... Oh, God. Hold on. I'm going to redo this one. I am the very model of a modern major general. I organize the manor room by room and alphabetical. On full-on moons, I transform into something catechal. I have infinite feather dusters, so I'm prepared for batical. Oh, I see what you did. Yeah, the batical was throwing me up there. So with work, I could probably do the patterning for those. But again, chat more skilled than I am at coming up with funny jokes. Again, chat, well done. Well done, chat. 10 points to everyone in chat. Well done. Well done. But it's actually, hold on. I think some of these would be... It would be for Techno Nerds. I'm going to redo Techno Nerds, because if I remember how it goes, I am the very model of a modern major general. I organize the manor by room and alphabetical. On full-on moons, I transform into something catechal. Ooh, categirl. Something that rhymes with catechal. Got it! I have infinite feather dusters, so I'm prepared for something abatical. And then you would have everybody go, I'm prepared for something catechal. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Because we're disturbed. Oh no, seriously, somebody clip that shit. That's it's not the perfect read, but it's one of my better patterings off the cuff. Because it's one of the things for pattering songs. Once you get the cadence down, it's good, but sometimes your brain, like it's hard for me to describe. It's something where your brain understands what's being read and the words make sense in your head, but when you're trying to do the cadence for some of the rhyming, you're like, does that make sense? And it's one of those things where you sort of stop and you trip over yourself because you're tripping over, does that make sense? Am I saying the right thing? And it's for something like Gilbert and Sullivan, you kind of have to find a balance between the two. But oh, you can't clip when you did mine? All right, I'll redo yours. Great matter. Let me actually take a drink here and I'll redo yours. I am the very model of a modern major maid. I tidy up the mansion with precision and my trade. I dust and sweep and polish, and I make the beds with care. With skills of cleaning excellent, I'm truly beyond compare. There you go. It's something where, again, there's a reason I did patterning songs, because I can do them pretty well when they translate well in my mind, and thankfully I don't really have stage fright. Though I do remember, as much as I nailed that song, I felt the biggest wave of relief when I finally was able to get off stage, and I was drenched in sweat. Absolutely, like, soaked through my shirt, drenched in sweat. But I nailed it, and that's what matters. And of course, nobody cared because it was just a play and nobody really remembered it. But I was relieved it was over. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I have peaked in life, I have peaked in high school, and nothing will ever top that. And nothing ever did. Nothing ever did, if I'm being honest. The rest of my high school days, fairly unremarkable by comparison. And yeah, to remember that song, it was a thing. But again, I was the type of theater kid that I knew the Monty Python Holy Grail by heart. I knew the patterning song by heart. And I knew like 3 or 4 other requirements, quote unquote, to be a theater kid by heart. But it was a time of my life. It was indeed. Now, interestingly, I did not actually pursue theater in college, which I could have, but it was one of those things where the college theater kids, way more intense than I was. Way more intense. Like, even the tech people, way more intense than what I was doing for tech. So it was like, yeah, I can't even do this as a hobby anymore, and I can't really do this as, you know, like a free time thing, a free time activity like a club. Like, I'm not hardcore enough to work with these people, kind of a thing. So it was just something I did in high school, and I didn't pursue it after that. Anyway, so we have a character creation example, which do we want to read through? How long is this? Hold on. Okay, this isn't too long. We can read this. All right, we're gonna put Master Kamiya. The master will be in the voice of Sean Connery, and Hazumi will be some generic anime girl voice. So let's see what we have here. Okay, let's get started with actually making a character. Okay. I have a bad feeling about this. We already have some perfectly good maids here, so this is your second chance to try living as a maid, Hazumi. Yes, I thought it might turn out like this. Playing the Master's Fantasy, else I'm out on the street, right? Come in. These rules... no, it's come on. Come on, these rules are specifically for creating maids. It won't be all that bad. Really? Well, when you create a character, everything is decided by dice, so there'll be no hard feelings, right? I bet there will be. So, now that she's agreed to help with this example, it's time to roll up the 2 maid types. Wait, when did I agree to help? Hey, wait a second. Anyway, you'll definitely need the heroine type, so let's roll 2d6. Here we go. They're both 6, actually. Heroine. Heroine times 2, huh? That's fine. Double heroine. The heroine of the story. I guess having Lolita or Sexy would be kind of weird this time. Well, I guess this way is better, but... Now, let's roll for all your attributes at once. Here goes. 7, a 10, a 5, another 7, a 6, and a 9. Nice. Looks like I got higher than average. Except, we divide by 3. So you've got 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, and 3. So when we add the modifiers from your maid type, we have Athletics 2, Affection 3, Skill 1, Cunning 2, Luck 0, Will 5. So, I have no luck, nothing new. But I guess I got some willpower. And your maid skills are pretty low, but it's the thought that counts. Somehow I don't think that's quite right. Now, let's move on to maid color. We'll roll separately for hair, eyes, and uniform. Ha! Let's see, 2 is 1, and 6 is vermilion, and 2 and 4 is sky blue. So, we'll have you in a purple uniform with crimson eyes and light blue hair. That's totally not out of the question. So many charts. This is too complicated for me. Now it's time to roll for the real fun. Maid special qualities. Huzzah! 2 and 3, so I'm shy? It also means that you've never spoken to anyone besides me. I guess so? And the next one, here goes. 36. Angel Devil. Really? So I think you're a demon, though this is the first time I've heard about this side of you. Let's see how you look now. And then they specifically changed the character to Bashful Demon Maid Izumi. Hey, you just completely changed me. So, it's fine. A shy demon maid. That's pretty cute. Yup. I'm not very happy about all this. Now we have to do a little more. A little bit more. Your maid weapon, your maid power, your trauma, your roots, and stress explosion. Let's hurry up and roll for all of them. My maid weapon is a vase. My maid power is persistence. My roots are who knows, and my stress explosion is crying. I feel like crying right now. Speaking of stress explosions. Hey, how about rolling on that optional trauma table as well? The one at the end of the optional rules. There it is. Okay. Says you killed your lover. Yikes. I killed someone. Maybe it was some kind of accident. Because I've never had a boyfriend long enough to kill him anyway. Will I die a poor lonely maid?
Overall, it looks pretty cool if you ask me.
Thanks. I'm not really sure what all this means, though.
And I suppose having your lover get killed explains why you're so afraid of people.
I don't know really why we're doing this, ELH Sama. I should be doing work.
So anyway, this is how you make a character. Everyone got it?
Who are you talking to anyway? Who is there? And that was ELH's dramatic reading of character creation of MAID RPG. Yup. Alright. So now, 2 hours in, we finally have the game rules. And for this, yeah, I was going to say, that's one of those moments where you wish you could have clipped it, but it was too long. Yeah, you can clip part of it at least. But, or, you know, if you're a YouTube clip person, you just clip the 5 minutes that was and throw it up on YouTube somewhere. I don't mind. But anyway. So, yeah, there was a game. Somewhere there was a game in all this. Yeah, there was a game. So the base mechanic of the system is to roll 1d6 and multiply the result by the attribute you're using. Usually the game master decides the target number, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what it is we have a chart of difficulty. So difficulty of 4 to 6, minimum needed. 6 to 8, difficult for an amateur but easy for a pro. 8 to 10, something only a pro can pull off. 10 plus, difficult for even a pro. So, oh god, we have another example. How long is this one? Let me see. I think I have to read this one. How many characters do we have? Yeah, multiplying is not common, but it's not the most complicated thing, because all we're doing at the end of the day is rolling a d6 and adding and multiplying by like 1, 2, or 3, maybe 4. Because I think 4 is the max you can have. So the highest number you can have is 24. So it's not tremendously difficult for basic multiplication. It's not like, oh, I need a calculator for this multiplication. So it's not the most elegant and straightforward, but it's still manageable. Again, for something like this, d6 and multiply, easier than you would think. Which, you know, is maybe a bit of a misnomer, because even with, you know, D&D adding a +5 bonus, sometimes people struggle to add even a +5, +1, hell, even a +2, or, you know what I'm trying to say here. You can put back your slide rule. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, I don't think I have enough voices to do this next example. Also, I think, yeah, reading this example, I don't think I can read it. We can look at it. I don't think I can read it because it's pretty toss. Yeah, this is something that, you know, what I should do is maybe I should get Benosphere on stream one day and we'll read through this example. And Benosphere and I will give this example the best we can. Because this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to embrace more cringe in my life, but I am not quite at the level of cringe that I can read this particular example. Because this is the kind of example that we need Benosphere level of crazy for. But yeah, let's keep reading. So combat. In this game, combat happens whenever the characters are opposing or competing with one another. Covers the usual forms of RPG of combat like sword fighting, magic, and firearms, but it also comes into play when maids are some way opposing someone. Okay, we need to choose the attribute we use for combat, and it is an opposed roll. Okay. Whoever action has the highest attack power wins that round of combat, while the opponents, here we're calling the loser the defender, are subject to psychological harm in the form of stress. The opponent suffers stress equal to the attack power divided by the attribute the offender was using against the attacker. Okay, so this is a little bit complicated, where, you know, again, we're dividing. Not my favorite division. I think it would be better if it was, you know, a minus, a subtraction, but still manageable. It's still manageable here. Where dividing, the most you're dividing by is either 4, 3, 2, or 1, so it's not that difficult to divide. But still could trip some people up. Some people will still be tripped up by this. So again, not the best idea, but manageable. Let me see. If the defender's relevant attribute is 0, they take stress equal to the full attack power. If both combatants share the same attack power, so they tie, then it is a tie or stalemate and neither side takes any damage. Okay, so for something like this, it might make sense to have heroic clashes or ties or stalemates, but something I've gotten to really enjoy from something like, say, for example, something, for example, like Star Trek Adventures, where most rules for combat are, especially for melee combat, are, the actor will get hit. Some actor in this role will be hurt, whether it's the acting actor or the defending actor. And that speeds up combat tremendously. But here, I think it makes sense that a tie or stalemate is cinematic, and it fits the vibe that the role-playing game is going for. And yeah, Gray Matter, you have it correctly where, this is definitely like a 2000s era attempt at handling this kind of mechanic. So it's very much, at the time, very much a thing. And it was very much, something that the 2000s era did a bunch. It wasn't just MAID that did this. Yeah, it's almost like this was written in 2004. Yeah. Let me see. So when a MAID takes stress, note it down next to her spirit rating. If a MAID accumulates more stress than her spirit, she'll have a stress explosion. If you really don't want to have a stress explosion, you can opt to do whatever the opponent wants and thereby not take any stress. Actually, AOS, hi! Yes, it has been a while since I've seen you around. Welcome on in. We are just wrapping up our MAID RPG review. I think we got about another couple pages, and then I think we're done looking at this thing for now. But yeah, I've been doing well, all things considered. I hope you have likewise been doing okay as well. All right. Yeah, the MAID RPG was, so far it's been a delight, and it's just been a fun to read through, which is very important. Like, this has been a fun read. It hardly feels like 2 hours have passed by. Like, this has been a very fun experience to just go through MAID. All right. Let me see. So it looks like your MAID's true power is in the identity of a MAID, and there's penalties if you remove parts of your MAID uniform. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna find the section on butlers before we wrap up. There should be butlers somewhere in here. You've been doing good. Meat space has just been overriding virtual space. I get you. Real life is a fucking mess, if I'm being honest right now. But we're here. We're having fun. We're escaping into the world of ridiculing ELH for going over MAID and doing funny voices. So, hopefully if you have a chance, you'll be able to go back and watch the rest of the stream in VOD, because this has been a lot of fun. But let's see. Stress we've been already going over. Favor. So favor is how many points? Thank you. Actually, you know what? Good time to shout out the PNG creator. The creator was Shinashi, and you can check them out at that link there in chat. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to get this one done. And yeah, it's fitting the vibe I'm going for a lot better as well. But let's see. So favor is basically your meta currency that you can use to remove stress, raise attributes, roll bonus, random event. Yeah, so favor is luck from Fallout 2D20. Luck is kind of a individual momentum. So I love that. I love meta currency like that. So favor, good job there. All right, let me see. And then NPC rules, they give us a chart. What on earth is happening on the right side of the screen? Well, that would be the Japanese example, where they do some stuff. They're giving an example of the rules, but in classic Japanese fashion. Where I already read one, but some of these I can't read these, because some of these are requiring someone with more charisma, or someone that is not afraid of getting the ban hammer. They could read, because some of these example, fine to look at in text form, actually Voicing them, a little bit TOS. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, so the mansion doesn't necessarily have to be something that is a mansion. Could be a large spaceship, could be an island, a labyrinth, or a castle. Just the setting of where things are. The master is, of course, an NPC controlled by the game master. And everything there. Let me keep scrolling here. Random events are random events to roll on the appropriate table. And yeah. Right. And then, yeah, so there's a bunch of random events from different genres like modern, fantasy, and space. There's just a big old table here. Big old table of events. And then, yeah, there is a lot of stuff. What does this have to do with the Kirk era Trek? Or is this a new campaign idea? No, TOS, as in terms of servants. Where terms of service is something like, I can't read some of these because it would be against terms of service to Twitch, is what I mean by that. Yeah. All right. Let's. I think we have a good idea of what Maids is about, but we need to figure out what the Butler's rules are, because I said we would go over the Butler rules. So they are on page 49. All right, 49. I think we passed them. Yeah, we passed them. 49. 49, here we go. Optional character types. All right. No, it's too late. Captain Saman needs his maid crew. Listen, Steve, listen. All right, if there are at least 2 maid characters in a game session, another player can take the role of a butler. There can only be 1 butler per mansion, however. So that I would just say, if you want to be a butler instead of a maid, go for it. So that's what I would change, but let me just see. Butlers take stress, gain favor, and so on, just like maids. However, butlers are subject to the advantages and disadvantages listed below. Advantages. A butler must always wear a suit. However, butlers do not take penalties for removing their uniforms like maids do. Okay. Butlers are normally male and use special tables separate from those used to create maids. Yeah, like Techno, if we had Bean playing this, you know, the chaos energy would be so off the chart that I think I would just at some point just be like, yeah, all that happens. Well done. Yeah, all that happens. Yeah. Yup. Let me see. So butlers are strong. Yeah, I was gonna say get a few drinks, and I think this would be a lot of fun. Like if you just full on embrace the cringe, I definitely think that this could be fun. Would I rather run or play maid? The answer is yes. And whether it's playing or running maid, I would love to experience maid on stream one day. That would be amazing. Who are you? I am the butler. What do you do? I buttle, sir. Yeah. See, I think we could get Bean on board. We could maybe get Techno to be a maid, but we would like, no joke, like Matthew would have to be the butler in this instance. Like there is no other way that, or you know, maybe if Matthew really wants to play a maid, go for it. But to me, I would archetype cast Matthew as the butler in this situation. All right, Techno's okay. We got 2 out of 3. We just got to run it by Matthew. So we just got to run it by Matthew to see if he wants to be a maid. Okay, so maybe coming to a screen near you, the MAID RPG one shot, maybe. You'd have to physically stop Bean from being a maid. Oh, too many ideas. Oh dear, too many ideas. Well, let's keep reading. What is a disadvantage that butlers have? Let's see. Butlers must remain calm at all times. As such, they do not have stress explosions. If his stress exceeds its spirit, a butler must use his favor to reduce his stress below his spirit. Butlers cannot allow themselves to create chaos, so they can't use meta currency to make random events. Butlers automatically lose any combat against the master or maids. However, they can enter combat normally if the master orders them to do so. Okay. Interesting. Actually, let me look. What is April 1st in 2005? Let me just scroll through here. April 1st, 2025 is a Tuesday. So yeah, maybe we can do it on the 30th, that Sunday prior hand. Cause yeah, I think we could do the one shot. We'll figure something out. Yeah, no, AOS, you missed it earlier. There is an optional mechanic that was outlined as seduction, and it's very much an optional mechanic, and it's not something that's required. But yes, if you want there to be a seduction mechanic, it's there. If you want it, if you want to go the full 9 yards, it's there. Like, let me actually just scroll back up. What page are we on? We're on page 50. If we scroll back up to just the amount of optional rules here. Where is it? We have things like new character types. We have things like apprentices, and there's so many option rules. Like, yeah, so here we are. The optional rules of seduction and comforting. Interestingly, it's on page 69. Nice. Costumes, items, and events, weather, generating mansions. Like, this is a bunch of random tables here, really, at the end of the day. So the fact that it has mechanics for that does not surprise me. But let's get back to butlers. What else is special about butlers? So butler types, they've got different butler types. You have shadows, elites, monsters, partners, gothic and veteran, classic butler archetypes. Let me see here. Attributes are different, so attributes are divided by different things. Butler roots are different. So hatred, ambition, contract, affection, loyalty, and family. So it's basically the same thing that we had for MAID, where, the butler can be a variety of things. But the butler is, I think someone said it earlier, this is the Batman MAID. Like, the butler would be your Batman MAID in this instance. Yeah, like, so the butler is a little bit more powerful, but also has some restrictions on what play they can do, which I think is cool. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, love it. Love it. I actually want to see Batman in a maid dress now. I would be very, very surprised if somewhere on the internet there was not a picture of Batman in a maid dress. I would be very, very disappointed in the internet if it didn't. And yeah, Caspian, there is the suit color and the hair color. Yep, you've got your suit and hair color if you need it for your butler. Yeah, I can see this being a lot of fun. Batmaid. Who are you? I'm the Batmaid. Oh God, hold on. I think I can do this bit. Batmaid, come quickly.
Where is the mess?
It's over there. I'm sorry, but I knocked over your teapot.
Don't worry, I will clean that mess, and I will clean up this city, for it is my job as Batmaid.
Yeah, that's the thing. That just happened. Yep.
Swear to me that you will not make this mess again.
All right, Batmaid, please don't make.
I said swear to me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Batmaid is the name of a cleaning service in Switzerland. Oh, I think on that note, I think we've seen what we've needed to see with maids. Let's go back to the maids now. So yeah, suffice to say, I think I'll probably be running maid as a one-shot at some point on this stream. I don't know when, but I'll run maid at some point because I think it would be an absolute blast. And you're not wrong, Caspian. There's probably going to be so many clips and just a soundboard of clips from this stream alone. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.